Hey everybody, we're back again and we have new console news once again, this time by the way of Kickstarter. And of course, when you say new console and Kickstarter, those two things never quite work well together as we've seen in the past. But we got new information today about something new, something in the handheld market. Now, I got to be upfront with you. Handheld gaming is absolutely dead right now. Now, I don't say that as in dead as no one does it. I mean, it's pretty locked down in terms of what you want to do with it. You got the Nintendo Switch, which is probably the premier handheld out there right now. That's plain as day. You have the 3DS, which Nintendo says they still support, even though I haven't really seen anything about it. And then, of course, you have mobile gaming, which is everywhere. Everyone has essentially a mini PC in their pocket. So when a new console comes around and really has to do something kind of impressive or at least different to get your attention, like something like the Playdate, which had a little crank on it that's supposed to be coming out soon, that's pretty cool in that respect. But here we have a fairly traditional handheld console called the Lyra or the Lyra. I don't know. It comes from a company called Code, I think is what it is. It's a really strange name, but it's over on Kickstarter right now with 49 days to go. They're looking for just a little under $38,000 to make this happen, which does seem weird to me. That's a very, very, very low number. They're currently at just over $10,000 at the time of this recording with 49 days to go. If that's any indication, they're going to smash this record pretty well before the August deadline. Now, what is the Lyra? Well, it looks like a standard handheld console in a more traditional sense. It doesn't have any thumbsticks or nubs or anything like that. It has a standard D-pad on the left side, and it's got 4 buttons on the right side, spread out in the same manner of a DS or a 3DS. In fact, the D-pad and those button layouts look exactly like it, so I don't know where they pulled those from, but it looks that way. It's got a screen in the center, all the buttons, start, select, all that you would expect. Now, what is interesting and what actually got my attention right off the bat is how this console is laid out. The standard button layout, like I said, is fine, but they're recessed on the right and the left hand side, and they're towards the top of the console. For the button placement on the right side, I don't think it's such a big deal, but for the D-pad on the left side, because the console isn't flat, usually you have a flat console and the D-pad is slightly raised above the surface, giving you ample amounts of room to move around because people play differently, people have different size thumbs, all sorts of things. Because this is recessed, you have a very, very small space, just a couple of centimeters it looks like, before you're going to smack into the right side, into the screen. And you have a little bit more leeway below you downwards. This is going to make anything with any kind of big motions almost impossible, at least on perception. Now, what is the console itself? What does it do? Well, as you can tell, because of the price, it's not going to be a big powerhouse, but it is running on a Raspberry Pi CM3L. So it is another Raspberry Pi console, of which we've seen before. Now, the console itself claims to be your personal computer and entertainment system at the same time as it's your favorite console, all in one. Some of the displays, one of the big features it's showing off is playing Quake 3. It looks like Quake 3 Arena on the device itself. I don't know if that's a mock-up or it's actually playing it. Probably actually play it. The game's fairly old. But again, when you think Quake 3, you do not think of it playing with a D-pad and buttons. That is, even on the Dreamcast when it originally came to consoles, that is very uncomfortable. Now, it's Raspberry Pi, so basically anything with a Raspberry Pi that's compatible will be able to run in this thing. Of course, first thing you think of and I think of is emulation, right? Take your emulation and games on the go. Will that work for a console like this? That might be one of the selling points, even though I don't think they're going to focus on that because of the legality of such. But an actual D-pad and buttons, it all depends on the D-pad. I will tell you from experience, and I know a lot of people have said the same thing, but I don't think there has been a good D-pad on a console since probably the Super Nintendo. I don't know what it is about the technology. I know Nintendo maybe has control over it or whatever. I know they won an Academy Award for it way back when. But their D-pads are just a thing in the past, and I just don't know if factories make them in high quality. So hopefully if they can get around that, if this thing has a good D-pad, I am all for it in terms of emulation. But then again, because of that recessed D-pad on the left, I'm very concerned because you can easily go right now, jump onto AliExpress or something like that and get yourself like a knockoff BitBoy or knockoff Game Boy, anything of that has a layout that is flush with the case for, God, you can get it starting at 20 bucks, maybe even less, under $30, $40. So the price of this is going to have to be competitive, and unfortunately it is and it isn't. For the complete set right now, if you pledge 149 pounds, because this is a overseas Kickstarter, so you're gonna have to do the math. American dollars is gonna be a lot more, or a lot less. I don't know what the dollar is right now at all. You'll get the Lyra DIY game console. Now, that's interesting because it comes in two flavors. So it's the RTG edition of the Lyra, which comes out of the box completely assembled. It's been tested, and you can just dive right into games. So if you went to the store and bought a full console, you'd get the RTG edition. The DIY edition, that's a little more different. It comes out of the box with everything you need as a kit. You're gonna get all the components and you build it yourself. They say very clearly and thankfully that you don't need any soldering or special skills, and it'll take you about 15 minutes to complete the build for those that want to kind of see the insides of it. And it doesn't look like a complicated system because, of course, it's just a Raspberry Pi. You got the screen, you have the Raspberry Pi kind of layout board, you have the console shell and mainboard itself, some of the buttons, the case, the battery, and it looks like all you get is an Allen wrench and 4 to 6 screws, I think, really, which is really simple build. If you're comfortable with that, if you want to have more fun, that is 149 pounds. The ready to go one that's all built for you is 179 pounds. So it's all comfort level really for you. As for the technical specs on this system, you probably know if you've dealt with the Raspberry Pi 3, but it's got a Broadcom BCM 2837BO inside, Cortex A53 with 64-bit SoC. The CPU that it is running is 1.4 gigahertz, a 64-bit quad-core ARM Cortex, the A53 CPU. It's got 1 gig of RAM. It's got a 5-inch LCD display at 800 by 480 resolution. Video has got DPI interface as well as HDMI, so it looks like you'll be able to plug this into a bigger TV and use the controller, the game console itself as a control on the big screen, which is pretty cool. Integrated speakers, of course, with a headphone jack, USB 2.0 on this, and as for memory, it has 16 gigabyte micro SD card, and they say it's upgradable to any memory size in the SD format. So if you want to go 128, whatever you want to do, you can. And for battery, it's got a 3000 milliamp lithium ion in the machine. So that's the basics of it. That this is one of those Raspberry Pi builds, just really done nicely. You can build these, of course, yourself and make your own console, but I really think the selling point is the shell itself. Now, if you look at the main board, they have photos on their thing. It looks really pretty. It's a black main board. It's got their name etched on there in the gold contacts. It's a really pretty design to look at, to make enjoyable. Again, a lot of the photos on here are actually showing a lot of older PC games. It's looking at Doom and Quake and like that. Now, they will also provide a tutorial series as well, guiding users about the hardware, how to assemble it, how to use it, how to install your preferred OS, because again, this is Raspberry Pi, so they'll have something they recommend as well, and how to download and run video games, which is pretty cool. Now, the design I do like. It is a pretty design. It's those recessed keys that are always a huge concern. But it does look like people are interested in this console, because at over $10,000 of their just under $38,000 gold, with 51 backers and 50 days to go, which is quite a long time, it does look like they're going to smash this project. So head over to their Kickstarter, take a look at it, let me know what you think. Like, my biggest concern again is that D-pad placement and buttons. It's a slim looking console. Think of it like the Nintendo Switch, but slimmer without the joysticks as well. Do you like the design? Would you be comfortable playing with it? Imagine playing something like a Street Fighter game or some sort of fighting game with that. They're showing 3D games. Again, D-pad and 3D do not go together well. So I do think that this is going to be an emulation machine. They're just not going to show any of that stuff. And would you like this console better, like I would, if those buttons were flush to the deck or to the outer shell of the console? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll catch you again soon when another cool tech product or console, home or portable, I guess they're still making them, comes around. So let us know in the comments below, and we'll catch you again next time. Bye-bye.